You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey B&B fans, Belinda from Soap Dirt here, and I want to discuss some of the strange things going on with Sheila Carter's resurrection. A resurrection that, by the way, surprised absolutely no one. It was funny to me to see these headlines on sites that don't regularly cover soaps. Big name sites. One that rhymes with dead schmine. Anyway, they swoop in with these ill-informed articles now and then, like if actors pass away, like when Sheila died, and then when she came back and their headlines are all B&B shocker. No, it wasn't. Not to anybody who actually watches the CBS soap. Her death was dodgy from the start. We said it here at the beginning. She's not dead. Anyway, now there are some peculiar loose ends we need to talk about. So is there a chance that Sheila is the mastermind behind her own redemption? Is this all a big fake out? Please click subscribe if you haven't. And now let's just dive right in. Right now, I feel like what we have is bad writing, mediocre writing. I feel like Brad Bell wants Sheila Carter redeemed so she can stay around. So he did this whole contrived thing, and it's been going on for a while, starting with that super dumb Ridge and Bill undercover sting that got her out of prison, up to her supposed murder at Steffi's hands. Then they had Jackie Wood and Kimberlin Brown confirming her death. Then we see after that Kimberlin backpedaling and saying, oh, I really thought my character had been killed off. I mean, come on. Clearly, it was written that she wasn't killed off from the start. But I'm sure CBS Daytime doesn't like people like me and other critics calling them out for having their actors lie in interviews, because they did the same thing, having Tanner Novlan telling big lies about Finn being dead and what's next for his career. All that happened a couple of years ago. This is what they do. And then when they get called out, backpedal, backpedal, backpedal. So what we have going on right now, I feel, is one of two things. So Brad Bell's sloppy writing to force a Sheila redemption story on Finn and Steffy, the Forresters, and all of the fans out there. Or option two, we have a very clever, well-written storyline of Sheila being this evil genius and setting it all up, faking her own death to achieve an insta redemption while sacrificing useless, never seen sugar. It's not that I doubt Sheila's that smart. She is, but I just doubt how clever the bold writers are, because time and again they show us they're not. So let's just real quick explore how Sheila might have gotten away with this, but in the end, I still suspect that the redemption is going to be forced on all the fans and it's going to turn out to be bad writing. Whether it's legit or a setup, my 2 cents, sloppy writing. But I do think it's fair to entertain the possibility that Sheila did set this all up. I see a ton of fans on soap social media very certain Sheila has orchestrated all of this. And I mean, she has been quite diabolical for decades. This is the woman that cut off her own toe to fake her death in a bear attack. The first time she faked her death was way back in 1992. Her roster of crimes is long, it's varied, and quite frankly, it's impressive. So really, setting up a redemption tale for herself is right in Sheila's wheelhouse. So if she did set this up, if she did mastermind it, how did it happen that way? Well, she would either have to have Sugar's cooperation, in either willingly or unwillingly lied, tricked, maybe gaslit her. She's done it to Sugar in the past. Sheila could have gaslit Sugar into going to Steffi's house with ill intent in her heart. She might have convinced Sugar that Steffi was a threat. She needed to get out of her way for whatever reason. All the text messages and stuff between Sugar and Sheila could have been set up. Sheila could have been sending them to herself. I mean, that's not very compelling evidence. And if Sugar eliminated Steffi, Sheila might have promised her some benefit, some payoff, something like that. And maybe neither of them thought she would get killed in the process. But with Sugar attacking Steffy, looking like Sheila, then Sheila could have actually locked herself up in the warehouse with enough food to last and just waited on someone to find her son, her lover, someone, so that she could tell them this sad tale of kidnapping and sacrificing herself because she loves Steffy. Sheila doesn't love Steffy. Sheila sees Steffy as an obstacle, and I don't think she likes her very much. So obviously there are some lies going on. So what's got people thinking Sheila set this up, I think, is a few things, including how random it is for Sugar to show up in town. Also, what's very strange to me is Sugar should have locked Sheila up for a few hours, maybe a day at the most, while she went to kill Steffy. And then she'd have to let Sheila loose to be arrested for the crime she committed. So why on God's green earth did Sugar leave a big supply of food and drinks? That's very suspect, because if she was just going to be gone for a few hours or a day, she could have locked her up with nothing, thrown a bottle of water and a granola bar at her if she was being charitable. And so, yeah, Sheila was malnourished and dehydrated when she was found. But honestly, with 2 months locked up with just a day or two of snacks, she'd be dead by now. So if there were enough food and water to last her for nearly 2 months, there's a big question. Why? Why would Sugar leave that much food? That doesn't make a lot of sense. And I have to say, it's also strange that Sheila refused the hospital. And she really recovered pretty fast from the dehydration and malnutrition. All it took was a meat lover's pizza from Il Giardino, and Sheila was pretty much back in fighting form. Then again, she might have just run out of food a couple of days before that. So there are ways to explain it both ways. Again, it just doesn't make sense because Sugar had no reason to lay in a huge supply of supplies. There's just so much about this plot that doesn't add up. Plus, there was the weird scene with Sugar talking to Sheila, showing she can alter her deep voice to sound more like Sheila. Why even bother with that? Because Sugar never spoke when she was at Steffy's house that night. So I don't even know what that was for. That's very suspicious. And when you start adding it all up, it feels to me like one more badly written B&B storyline. Like, you know, that immensely dumb thing with Bill faking a relationship with Sheila while scruffy ponytailed Ridge hung out with the FBI agent doing that illegal recording that got her booted out of court. They had Sheila dead to rights on shooting Steffy and Finn. She would be in prison if not for Bill and Ridge. So Bell clearly wrote the shooting plot probably to usher Sheila off for an indefinite amount of time, then decided to keep Sheila around, probably for ratings, and that he had to unravel the mess that he'd created. So then we got that nonsense FBI thing, and now we have this nonsense Sugar stabbing. In the end, though, despite the red flags that Sheila might have set it all up, I just feel like it's sloppy writing and not a diabolical plot twist. But with the writing kind of all over the place on Bold, I mean, who even knows what direction they're going to take it in? They've seemingly abandoned the whole who's Luna's daddy thing, at least for a while. We haven't heard about that in, 2 months? We've not seen Bill on a date with Poppy in a couple of months. Thomas is MIA. Quinn was at lunch one day, gone the next. Brooke and Ridge never got married. Taylor evaporated. Longtime Bold and Beautiful watchers know that the soap opera abandons plots all the time and writes pretty bad ones on the regular. So yeah, it could go either way. But as I said from the jump, Sheila wasn't dead. And then I predicted she'd be found near death. That happened. I predict this redemption is intended to be the real deal and not something Sheila cooked up despite all the red flags. But we will see how it goes. Subscribe if you haven't. Drop your comments. Do you think Sheila set this all up, or was she really Sugar's victim? Let me know what you think. Come back. We are here talking Bold and Beautiful 7 days a week. And as always, it's Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.